Alright guys, what's going on? This is Taryn. Coming to you, we're going to give you a basic guide for the Affliction. We're kind of breaking this into 3 videos. We're going to look at, this first video is going to look at just kind of our basic spells, talents, artifact. The second video, we're going to look at full rotation, what we're supposed to be doing with that. And then the third video, we're going to kind of look at the general gearing and just kind of what you want to be, make sure you're not getting in some of the theory behind that. So, without further ado, well, let's go ahead and talk about the Affliction Warlock. So, we got 5 basic abilities. We got a primary pet here, Summon Fell Hunter. He's cool. He does a little bit of bonus damage on dots. We don't actually use him that much. So, you got Corruption, your basic one of your basic fillers. He does some damage, not much to write home about. Agony is your shard generator. We work on soul shards. You spend soul shards with unstable affliction. Agony ramps up over time. Good stuff. I'm assuming a lot of you have at least played the Affliction lock and you know some of these buttons. Seed of Corruption will detonate after some damage that you deal to the target. It deals moderate damage. It also costs a shard, and it applies corruption to all targets that it hits. So it's got some cool stuff it does there. Talking about talents, you can pull all of these up on Wowhead, whatever, WowDB, the World of Warcraft main site has a talent calculator as well. Pull them up there, talk about them there. I'm going to talk about what is good, or what you use when, is kind of the main thing. Your tier 15 here, you've got 2 general options. Haunt you never really use because it doesn't deal... the damage that it deals is just not worth the lack of sustain that you get from the other 2. You get Writhe and Agony. Makes your Agony ramp up twice as high. So it has twice the ramp up time, but it has twice the damage once it's up. It takes about 30 to 40 seconds, depending on your haste, to get to that point. Malefic Grasp. This is our kind of go-to right now. It increases all damage that you deal, or all dot damage you deal to a target by 80%. While you're channeling Malefic Grasp. Really strong. Allows you to do some really good burst. Allows you to do a lot of good damage on single target. This is really needed to help balance the whole multi-dotting versus not multi-dotting. So, good stuff, good stuff. Looking at the second tier. Also applies. Yeah. I'm live recording these, so it'll be good. If you ever want to watch these live, tune in. Second tier, we got 3 choices here. These all have kind of uses. Empowered Life Tap is used the least. It is used generally when you're doing a heavy AoE, like low-level Mythic Plus cheese crap, because none of these other things affect your AoE. AC is used on some single-target situations. It's also used in a multi-dot situation to give you 1 less dot that you have to maintain. And then you got Contagion. Contagion is kind of your general go-to for for a lot of things. You're generally going for one of these 2. Contagion increases your damage dealt to a single target that has unstable affliction. Really strong. So, tier 45 is kind of your flavor tier. Your typical go-to is Demonic Circle. Mortal Coil has some use, especially if you have Sifus. More on that later. It's also kind of nice in some Mythic Plus because it's not on the same DR as stuns. So after your stun gets on DR, you can actually use this and have an extra 3 seconds of interrupt on a mob. Kind of handy for high-end Mythic Plus. Howl of Terror is off the GCD for Sifus if you have it, but it is significantly less useful. But the main thing you're going to use is Demonic Circle most of the time. It just generally has a better use in raids and stuff. Tier 60, Soul Harvest, again, has kind of the least amount of use. It's got some more use now because it's got the bonus 5-second duration. It gives you a damage cooldown, which is nice. So the Seeds is your go-to AoE if you need AoE, and Siphon Life is a bonus dot. It deals slightly less than Corruption before your artifact kicks in. Is kind of the way you should math that. So just slightly less. It is less DPS. It's over 15 seconds. Corruption is over 14. So that's all good. Tier 75, this is actually a really cool row. This is all utility, but it's really, you can pick and choose what you want. Burning Rush is excellent for Mythic Plus, helps you go fast. It is excellent for a lot of raiding where you've got a lot of movement to help you get into position quicker. As Affliction Warlocks, we're not tend to, if we can run to a location, It's generally better to do that rather than TP because you can run to the location and there's stuff that you can do with your GCDs. So going back to this tier, Demonic Skin is your kind of go-to for just general trickle damage. If you aren't so worried about movement on Cenarius, this would be really good on a fight like Cenarius, where you have just a general tickle, like slow vomit of, like, not like projectile vomit of damage, but like just kind of slowly put on you. And then Dark Pack is your I need to pop a CD to not die. It's really good for that. It's about half of your hit points in bonus health. It's maybe about a third, but it's really good. So, tier 90, Sacrifice is never used. It does not deal enough damage at all, so we never touch that. Service has some uses. If you're running a Writhe in Agony build, it's generally your go-to there because your Unstable Affliction doesn't deal as much damage. But the main thing everyone's kind of running right now is Supremacy. It gives you the option to have a really strong AoE pet, a really strong single target pet. You can swap between the two, so you're not kind of stuck in one like thing. And then the Infernal gives you a stun. The Doomguard gives you an interrupt. It just gives you more options, which is nice. The tier 100, again, this is there's a lot of uses here, but Phantom Singularity is not used nearly as much. It's generally useful for low level Mythic Plus. There's some things that might be useful for Nighthold. The Scorpion boss, there might be some use there if you need to be doing the AoE. Generally, mages are a lot better at that. So, Soul Effigy is kind of our go-to pure single target. It gives you, basically what it is not like a prismatic circle. It basically gives you need to think about it as you're allowed to put 6 dots on a target instead of just 3. Right? You're allowed to double the amount of dots that you can put on a target. That's kind of the way you need to frame your mind around that. But those dots deal less damage, so that's the major thing to keep in mind. Soul Conduit is Soul Conduit's used a lot in Mythic Plus, things like that. It's kind of self-explanatory. Soul Conduit will pull ahead anytime you're on 3 targets. Effigy is ahead on single target. They're about even if you have 2 targets sustained. On a fight like Odin, for example, there's logic to go either or. So we'll go into that more in a little bit. So talk about the artifact here. The artifact is we need to think about the artifact as a band-aid to help Affliction locks be better at things that they're bad at. Those things are adds that die really quick. So a lot of people kind of are complaining about how you've got 2 gold traits that just aren't even useful on bosses. Well, as it turns out, they're really good on some bosses. This button right here is about 15% of my damage on Mythic Helya. It's really cool. So kind of let's start from the top and go through this. So our main button the main artifact button that you have is called Reap Souls. Reap Souls amplifies, gives you a 10% damage bonus. You have souls that you kind of shit out of yourself, and then you also have any targets that die give you souls. It's a little buff that you can track, and you hit Reap to eat those souls, and then you get a damage bonus based on the number of souls that you eat. 5 seconds per soul. Reap Souls gives you that 10% bonus, and then amplifies all of your abilities by doubling them. So this Crystalline Shadows is times 4. Inherently Unstable goes from plus 6% crit to plus 12. You get the Sweet Souls. Your Hellstone will heal you for 50% of your health instead of just 25, and so on. So the main thing about the Affliction Warlock is you are highly dependent on your artifact level. You will not see good numbers until you hit rank 35 on your artifact, so keep that in mind. Talking about some of your other traits, Compounding Horror used to be really good. They've changed it. It is considerably less good now, but it's about 1% of your damage. Nothing to write home about, really. Wrath of Chaos, or Rath Consumption. We'll go to these 2 in a minute. Harvester of Souls, again, about 1 to 1.5% of your damage now on single target, much more on AoE, on multi-dot. This just gives your Corruption a bonus thing that it does. The one thing to remember about this, it is anything that's a percent proc, generally instead of the damage being amplified, it's the proc chance that gets amplified by Reap. So This goes from it goes to a 30% chance to proc instead of 12k, 1,200,000, 120,000. Wow, can't talk. 120,000 base damage. So it goes to a 30% proc rate. Sweet souls. Get your health stones heal you for drastically more. As an Affliction Warlock, you don't ever have to buy health pots because health stones are better and they share the same cooldown. So that's cool. It's an awesome thing. Save money. Fatal Echoes is an interesting ability. Every time your UA expires, it rolls and checks to see if you roll success, that UA gets reapplied. I'm not 100% sure if it procs, if that roll happens on the beginning or is calculated when you cast or when the final tick happens. We need some confirmation on that, but when that reap is up, that's 12%. It's really nice. I mean, when this happens, it's really cool. Rath Consumption. So these are the two kind of hot button ones. Wrath of Consumption, when you kill a mob, you get a damage bonus. This stacks up to 5, and every time you kill something, it just kind of rolls over. So you can be at 5 seconds out of the 20 left. You kill a little minion, and you get that whole 5 stack refreshed, which is nice. 10% damage bonus. Reap makes that up to 20. It is probably our strongest artifact trait. This helps us deal more damage when adds are involved. We're not able to deal that damage to the ad, but we deal more damage because there's ads. So it's kind of a band-aid because dots are bad on ads, because ads never last that long. So Soul Flame is similar boat. When the ad dies, it explodes with damage. This is doubled under Reap, and it deals a lot of damage. I've seen crits up to almost 400,000 with this with this ability. It's really cool. So that's the artifact. Like I said, these are a little short video. Let me know what you think. Check out the next video. Should be in the description. We're going to be talking about our opener in rotation. Thank you.